Hi, Miguel here, back with another Naruto vlog. Today we are doing volume 14, Hokage versus Hokage, and picking up from where the previous volume left off, things were in the middle of going down, I believe. So we find out a little more about Orochimaru's backstory and his relationship to the Hokage, and the whole reason he was the whole reason he dislikes the Hokage and Konohagakure village as well as look into some of his motivations, especially with regards to his plans for Sasuke and whatnot. So we actually see the Hokage and Orochimaru face off in this walled off area that is walled off by various ninja who are trying to keep Orochimaru and the Hokage away from the rest of the battle that's going on outside. Because Orochimaru is a bit of a. He has a bit of a kind of. He has this relationship with the Hokage. He wants to fight the Hokage with the appearance that he had when he was his student, and it's a very interesting, like, Obi-Wan Anakin sort of vibe going on here, that I kind of felt. So it turns out that Orochimaru had been caught by the Hokage, whose name we learned, by the way, being Sarutobi. He was actually doing, like, live experimentation on other ninja in order to acquire their jutsu. First of all, learn like all the jutsu in the world, because they're with all the hand seals and chakra and, like, all these different techniques that are passed down from family to family. There are, like, apparently tens of thousands of possible jutsu in the world, and he wants to learn them all. But most importantly, he wants to figure out the secret to immortality. And apparently, at this point, he has figured out the secret to immortality. All he has to do is place his spirit in the body of someone else. And in doing so, he is able to retain himself from body to body. His body might die, but another body would allow him to survive. And this is apparently his second body. So then that's how he's managed to remain so young after all this time, despite apparently being at least 50. And we've seen that the Hokage is he's pretty old. And in the previous volume, Orochimaru tried to summon three vessels of some sort, but the Hokage managed to stop the third one. So it turns out that these vessels would have been the two vessels that Orochimaru summoned contained the reanimated bodies of the first and second Hokage. And it's an interesting relationship because the Hokage, Sarutobi, the third Hokage, has actually learned from these people, and now he has to fight them. And the personalities of the first and second Hokage are retained within their bodies. So whenever they're being forced to fight the third Hokage, it's like, oh dear, okay, it appears we're back to life, and we have to fight you. Yeah, super sorry about this. It's a very interesting dynamic between them. And it's interesting to see the Hokage fight each other, because we're seeing jutsus that have never been shown to us before. We see one of the Hokage, like, summons up a forest in the battlefield, and apparently the ninja watching them, the random ninja watching them from the sidelines, who for whatever reason aren't partaking in the battle. They're just, like, watching, like, fangirling over what's going on inside. And they see the forest, and they're like, oh, so that's how Village Hidden in the Leaves was formed, because that's how the forest around the village was formed. And I'm like, oh, okay, so the forest was not natural, it was actually caused by a ninja performing a jutsu. And all of these Hokage have, like, extremely powerful jutsus that they utilize on each other. And it's really fascinating to see all that, just to see the extent to which these techniques can be, just to see how powerful these techniques can become. I am hoping to see at some point, like, I would like to see that them, like, say there's a cap on this. Like, we can't go any more powerful than this. We can't do this or that. There is no way to do this or that. We saw a little bit of it, like, You cannot heal the internal organs, or protect the internal organs from something or other that has to do with like Neji and Hinata's fighting style. But that's all we've really seen of that sort of thing, and I really would like to see just like what the limits are of ninja techniques. And because like these were like creating a forest, an entire forest right there in the battlefield. That seemed pretty powerful. And actually, there is my inner mythology nerd kind of freaked out at seeing this battle, because the Hokage and Orochimaru too actually utilize a lot of mythological elements from Chinese and Japanese mythology. The third Hokage summons a Monkey King named Enma. Enma in Japanese, I believe it was Japanese mythology. He is the god of death, and the Monkey King is reference to Sun Wukong, who I believe this entire series is supposedly based around Journey to the West already. So it's nice to see another reference to the Monkey King in a physical appearance of the Monkey King in the series. And for those of you who don't know, Orochimaru in Japanese mythology is a snake monster sort of thing, who's, I believe he is the one whose multiple heads were cut off by Susanoo, and he got a specific blade from it, and I don't remember what the name of the blade is. It's driving me bonkers. But the blade that Orochimaru actually wields in this fight is actually it's actually named after that blade. I do remember that much. So like it's very interesting to see how Kishimoto draws from inspirations from Japanese mythology and culture and folklore, that kind of thing. I'm really interested to see more. I'm curious to see what else he's incorporated, how else he plans to reference mythology and draw from mythology in these stories. It's nothing new. A lot of stories from anime and manga and like even video games like Yakuza, the tattoos are all very much related to Japanese mythology in one way or another. But like I'm always very happy when I see that, because like honestly, in like Western sources, we don't see that as often as I feel like we should. Like there are a lot of there's a lot of Christian symbolism. There's a lot of parallels to Christianity, but like mythological parallels or mythological drawing from mythology doesn't happen as often as it does in a lot of these Japanese media, which I really wish happened more in Western media. But anyway, so the Hokage actually, the third Hokage, sorry, I can't believe I actually have to specify that now, but the third Hokage actually utilizes this technique that summons the god of death himself. Another reference to Japanese mythology. This is the god of death, who has a knife in his mouth, and is very like his arms are outspread. It's very ominous. But he utilizes this technique that apparently was used by the fourth Hokage to seal away the nine-tailed fox. And what it does is first of all, he manages to take out the first and second Hokage, and he takes hold of Orochimaru. It turns out that in order for this technique to work, the third Hokage has to sacrifice his own life. So the third Hokage, I'm assuming, is probably going to die in the next volume, or if he's not already dead. I actually, there was a bit of time that I took between recording this and reading the volume. But the third Hokage has to give his life in order to rip the soul out of Orochimaru, and cause them to clash in an eternal conflict in another world, something or other like that. So Orochimaru is actually trying to fight that. He is like, I'm not going to die here, old man, not like this. And I don't think that seems to have been the end of that. I think we're going to resolve that in the next volume, unless I skipped a page or something. That seemed like a very that seemed like a very unresolved ending. But like, I suppose that was the point. Let's see. We're going to see what's going to happen in the next volume. Meanwhile, Naruto, Sakura, and Shikamaru are on the tale of Sasuke and Gaara, and Shikamaru, and the puppy that they're with. I keep forgetting his name. The puppy says like, "Hey, there are ninja on our tail, and a lot of them. We need to figure out a way to get rid of them." And Shikamaru decides like, if we do like a one-person ambush, like if we leave someone behind as a decoy, then the rest of us can go like buy some, with that time that person bought, can go find Sasuke and Gaara. And Shikamaru actually volunteers to do it because, like, first of all, he didn't want to be on this mission anyway. And secondly, he's the only one who he feels might be able to actually survive being a decoy. So he ends up going back, and yeah, there are a bunch of sound ninja waiting for him, ready to, ready to take down whoever is after Sasuke and Gaara. And we actually see Asuma in action for the first time. Who very easily takes down all the sound ninja, meaning that Shikamaru survives. I'm glad he survives, because I really like Shikamaru, but I expected him to survive. He's in a lot of merch. I actually own a pair of socks with him on it now. But anyway, so Shikamaru survives. He's probably going to catch up to Naruto and Sasuke. Sakura, sorry. So Naruto and Sakura are still hot on Sasuke's tail. And meanwhile, Sasuke and Gaara have actually met up, and Gaara, Kankuro actually tries to hold off Sasuke, but Shino meets up with Kankuro and decides like, hey, we were supposed to fight in the match anyway. Sasuke, you go after Gaara, I'll handle Kankuro. So we have this interesting fight between Shino and Kankuro. We basically know what these guys are capable of doing at this point. We know Kankuro is capable of utilizing his body double sort of thing, made of sand, to help him fight. And Shino also has his bugs, right? So it's very interesting to see how these two fight, especially now that we know what they can do. Shino actually wins the battle, despite Kankuro utilizing like poisoned needles, poison gas, and that sort of thing. Shino actually inhales some of that gas, but he manages to use his beetles in a very similar fashion to how he beat the that one sound ninja in the preliminaries. He utilizes his beetles to as a distraction, like, there's a beetle over here, like on your body, and there's a beetle on your weapons, on your chakra flow, but that's actually a distraction to keep you from noticing the beetles going around to attack you from behind. It's a very similar move, and it's an effective one. So he actually manages to defeat Kankuro with that move. But in the process, he's inhaling that poison gas, so he's like, I'm sorry, Sasuke, I can't help you fight Gaara in this case. So Sasuke actually catches up with Gaara, and at this point, Temari is helping Gaara along, but Gaara is conscious again. He's basically ready to fight Sasuke. Not only that, but we actually see a little bit of the beast emerge from him. So I'm assuming that when Sasuke finally gets to fight Gaara, it's going to be with the power of that beast, or like the physical form of that beast. And I'm beginning to wonder, like, we noticed that we noticed that Gaara was supposed to unleash this beast when the coup was to begin. He wasn't supposed to release this beast while fighting Sasuke. So when the coup begins, he was supposed to release the beast, and I'm assuming that was going to be like a big, like, a big weapon for Tsunagakure to use against Konohagakure, which we actually end up seeing that finally manifesting to fight Sasuke. That it wasn't supposed to happen like this. Tsunagakure Village's plan has gone completely awry. And but I'm very curious to see how this turns out from here. I'm very curious to see how Sasuke deals with Gaara in this form. I'm very curious to see how Naruto and Sakura are going to deal with Gaara in this form. Gaara seems like the big threat right now. Orochimaru seems to be, for the most part, taken care of by the Hokage. We don't know. We still have yet to see the ending of that battle. But for the most part, I think the main thread, the main focus of the next volume is going to be on this fight with Gaara, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited because I know Gaara is like a much beloved character for a lot of people, so I'm very curious to see how this fight changes him, how it changes Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, how it shifts the dynamic of the series as a whole. I'm very curious to see, and I'm also curious to see who gets to be Chunin after this whole like after this whole thing is over, like who gets to be Chunin, who doesn't attain the rank of Chunin. I'm really hoping, like at the very least, Hinata gets the rank of Chunin. I'm assuming Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke at this point have probably all achieved the rank of Chunin as well. We'll see. We'll see. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. With that being said, I will see you guys for Volume 15.